Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It is time for episode 55 of the Rocket Punch Cast. I am Seth, joined by the usual compadres, Mr. Cameron.
Hello.
Mr. Will.
Yo.
And Mr. Chaz.
What's up?
We are here to talk about video games and microphones. I am here right now to talk about wiener dogs.
What?
I want to talk to you about wiener dogs.
Whoa,
Let me tell you about wiener
second.
dogs. Otherwise known as Dachshunds, which I learned.
Dachshund.
Dachshund.
It's a German word.
Dachshund.
There you go.
Dos.
Closer. Try to sound like Reinhardt when you say it.
Dachshund. There you go. I'm Reinhardt. I love my dachshund. I went to an event. We have a hockey team in Huntsville called the Huntsville Havoc.
Yes, I know of these.
They, this is my first hockey game I ever went to. I went to it this weekend. Yep, never been to a hockey game before. Huh. And in the halftime show, or the halftime between the periods or whatever.
Halftime show, sure, we call it that.
Sure, halftime show.
It's literally the break between second and third period, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, really, like it's right at the beginning. They had what is called the Wiener Dog Races, the 7th annual Wiener Dog Races, and it was the most amazing event I've ever seen. The Olympics should have this. Essentially, basically everyone who owns a wiener dog shows up with their wiener dog. They put them on the ice.
Okay.
And then it is a rate. They let them go, and they run to the other end of the ice. And whichever wiener dog gets there first wins. And they did 3 heats and then a final. And it was
had heats. They
yes.
actually had
so
heats.
like I'm not joking. There were just like there were at least 200 wiener dogs across the 3 heats. Like they would bring out at least 70 to 100 wiener dogs each time, and then they just unleash them, and it was just like this wave of cute. And then there was some poop left behind. And so they were like, big shout out for the pooper scooper dude. I was like, what am I watching right now? It was really fun. Hockey's all right. That is a very violent sport.
Yeah, no, that's the way it's supposed to be.
And they love hitting each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like that moment you're like, if you watch any other type of sport, every now and again you see like someone aggressively hit someone else, and then they kind of get up in each other's faces, and everyone's like, oh man, are they going to fight? And then they don't because they know better. Hockey is just that, except usually they do fight.
Yeah. My favorites are when the gloves come off, the helmets go flying, somebody just grabs the other dude across the way, pulls his shirt over his head, and starts punching him in the stomach.
Sure, that's fine.
I think the only more violent sport is probably rugby, maybe.
Probably.
And I
Because
don't know.
there's no gear in rugby. It's just your t-shirt and shorts.
Not in terms of violence, but in terms of raw aggression. Like, when you think about it, hockey is really the only sport in which the best weapons you have is on your feet, right? But you don't use them.
You don't want to use those.
Your aggressive nature.
So, Seth, I know you're a big fan of Kiss.
Uh-huh.
The Huntsville Havoc has Kiss nights where everything is Kiss themed.
Yeah, see, this is a whole new world for me. I've got to figure out the stupid theme nights with the Havoc.
All right, Aladdin.
Don't you dare close your eyes. Creepiest line of any Disney song ever. Like, whoa, wait.
Oh, out of context. Yeah, that sounds really
yeah,
bad.
it's really bad.
Don't you dare close your eyes.
Hold your breath, it gets better.
Whoa. Oh, my.
Oh.
Chaz, you're pushing it.
Oh,
You're pushing it.
as always.
I'm not going to put E next to any of these podcasts ever.
Well, at least you did something cool. I feel like for me, this week was somewhat of a blur. Had a bunch of just jumping all around the place, but I feel like I'm just sitting in this weird stasis for this week.
Yes. This is the calm before the storm.
This past week was the calm for me. Like I really played a couple of games, but not to a full extent, and I just kind of prepared my soul. Like I can't play games right now because I have to save all of that energy for Horizon Zero Dawn and Legend of Zelda, and then the rest of March.
So, just to frame this, I really think what happened was Game of the Year was our episode 5 of Star Wars. That was our thing there.
That's our
and
Empire Strikes Back.
And it beat us down so bad that we had to put Cam in a Bacta tank. And he's about to come out of the Bacta tank.
Okay. I'm following you here.
And we're about to then go into the return of Cam.
Wait a second. Cam said he's in stasis, so he's in carbonite.
Oh no! So he's our Han Solo.
He's in carbonite, and he's in the palace of video game void. Right?
Okay.
There's no video games there.
Okay.
Will, you're in there. You're wearing.
Oh, so I get to be Lando?
Yeah, you're I'm trying to figure out if Chaz should be Lando. Okay,
He wants to be Chewie.
Chaz is Chewie. Chaz is Chewie. You're Lando.
So you're Leia?
Sure, I'll
Yep.
I'll own it. I'll own Leia.
I'm happy with that.
I could be Leia or C-3PO. I identify with C-3PO in more ways than I think I should.
Well, I mean, he helps move the story along quite a few times, so.
Hey, Seth, why isn't that episode posted? Oh, no! I've forgotten. That's me. What about you, Will? Have you been up to anything cool?
So I got together with two of the dudes from my Destiny clan, and we played the Ghost Recon's beta.
This is, of course, the Dying Dawn.
Yes.
Talk about the Ghost Recon beta. I know Seth and myself never got a chance to play this. I think, Chaz, you got to play it too.
Oh, yes.
You two, tell me about Ghost Recon. I've heard really good things about
Okay.
this.
I'll let Will go. Cause
How many
you've
ghosts
actually played
did
more than I
you capture in your reconnaissance?
I did not capture any ghosts. I created several.
Okay.
So,
Salt and burn the bones.
yeah.
I've seen Supernatural. I know how this goes.
So anyway, I found out early on that if you're playing with friends, they will be dicks, right?
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Now imagine.
Did you learn nothing from The Division?
Oh no, I learned a lot from The Division, but this has helicopters that you can fly in, and airplanes and whatnot. Excuse me. And as we're flying around, Eddie purposefully crashes the helicopter, and I of course don't have the parachute upgrade yet because that's a skill tree.
That's mean. That's mean.
I'm sorry,
That's
you
really
have
mean.
to spec into parachutes?
Yeah.
There's different like skill trees, and you can spec into different things, and so it's like one skill point to unlock a parachute. It's nothing
Oh, okay.
because at one point I had like 40 skill points just chilling.
Are there wingsuits?
No, but it's okay. You can still kind of glide through the air before you pull. Literally jumped out of a helicopter, and I was gliding down the side of a mountain before
Okay.
I pulled my chute. So don't worry, you still get some mechanics like that.
Okay, good.
But I can, because funny story. Chuck got killed on the ground. Eddie and I are in a helicopter. Eddie flies by. I jump from the helicopter so he can go try to kill this other point and catch this guy that we were trying to go after. I go down and revive Chuck, and then we make our way back to that area.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty badass. There are plenty of moments in the game, especially for me. My feelings on the game are a little bit mixed because it depends on who you're playing with, right? If you're playing with friends, and it's the best, most awesome thing in the world. If you're playing against with random people, asking random people to cooperate in a realistic military shooter, I think is akin to asking gerbils to help you caddy when you're trying to get a hole in one.
Now listen.
No, but
Mr. Nibbles is a fantastic cat.
it's just not the greatest experience in the world, and even then, someone is going to confuse a gerbil for a golf ball at some point. But
What is with gerbils?
what?
What do you have against gerbils?
They're the most disgusting creatures on this face of the earth. They're nasty. They're dumb.
No, they're pretty
They
worse
have-
creatures than gerbils.
They're-
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't necessarily agree with that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of them, but there are things out there that are much worse. Like
Are they?
piranhas.
No, piranhas are cute.
They're fish.
Yeah. Swim with piranhas and tell me how you like it.
Oh, I would never swim with them because I respect their living space. I respect their living space of other creatures. Like, I don't go in the ocean. I don't go in rivers. I don't go in lakes. Because these are things where fish live. And they poop and they pee and they have all their own thing in their own spaces. I just don't go in those. I respect their places. And in turn, they respect mine. So if a fish
Where
walks up on land, I kill
The
it.
hell are we right now? I just wanted to know what the thing with the gerbils was.
You got
And
it.
next thing we know, we're in a freaking Discovery Channel documentary.
But speaking of animals and creatures and everything else, Ghost
Okay.
Recon Wildlands has an amazing, picturesque, view of Bolivia.
Can you see the ants walking up the tree?
No, but you.
I don't know.
I'm going to
But-
give it a 6 out of 10 for graphics.
Well, anyway,
Too much water.
Yeah, too much water. No, I've enjoyed from what I played of it so far. Coming off of the Division, I had sort of like a really, really bad expectation set for this game. I'm thinking like I'm going to pick up a gun, I'm going to walk up to a gang member, I'm going to shoot him like 400 times, reload, I have to shoot him again, and before he dies. But no,
Like the Division.
like the Division. So I walk up with my hashtag squad, and we go. There's like these drug cartel guys, and I send up my drone to mark and, just try and figure out where these guys are. I walk up to one of them, and I just shoot twice, and he's dead. And I'm like, yes, yes. And so that's the way how it went. I just sitting there shooting dudes, and it felt really good. I didn't feel like it was some sort of like RPG masking as a third person shooter, and it felt really good. But out of all the games that are coming out in the next couple of weeks, it's gonna have to be one that I have to get back to a little bit later because
maybe March wants all your money. Come on.
So
I can't do it.
I feel very differently because I have people that I play shooters with religiously, and so like every once in a while we still go back to Destiny and play.
See, I really wish I would have played the beta this weekend. Like I really like Destiny for its multiplayer aspect. I liked what was the Division for its multiplayer aspect, and if Ghost Recon can give me that and deliver on it, that could be my like big strong multiplayer game that I want to play. And I just really, it sucks that I missed out, but I need to prepare my body, prepare my soul for what's about to happen this week.
So I have gotten pulled into the Ghost Recon world on this one, and I'm buying it on top of all the other crap that I've bought.
Yeah, I remember one of the things you really liked about Division was like the realism, and Ghost Recon, that's like realism, Tom Clancy.
Well, guess what? They're both Tom Clancy games.
Yeah.
I saw the only video I've seen is the character creation video, and I was like, that blows the Divisions out of the water. Like, you can gender different, so many different hair types, scars, tattoos on the arms, body armor, facial hair.
Plus your character's
you
voiced.
Can choose, and you can choose like color of clothing. I found out, we're going to be in Bolivia. There's a lot of like mix between like deserts and mud and whatnot. So everything my character has equipped right now, even though he's about to be purged from their servers, is all like a desert tan. So it's harder to spot me if I'm hanging out somewhere, just skulking around with my binoculars
like RPG level type of character creation.
Oh, and it gets better because you can upgrade your weapons, and there's different weapon parts for everything. You can choose different trigger assemblies. I am all about this game.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a Will game.
And I'm wearing a ghillie suit, so I'm like walking around as like Cousin It, just going like, and just laying down in the grass.
Description ever.
And it'd be like, someone goes, "Hey, there's a hay bale over there. What's going on?" And pow, in the face.
Can someone go back and redub All Gillied Up, except exclusively with Adam's Family?
Oh my god, it'd be amazing.
I would enjoy that.
Yeah. So this beta did what the For Honor beta couldn't do. It made me a buyer out of like, I'll try it.
Cool.
Good. I did one more thing this weekend.
Retro.
I went to IKEA for the first time.
Oh, wow.
But you've never been to IKEA?
I've never been to IKEA.
How have you never been to an
Actually,
IKEA?
I'm going to take your millennial card right now.
No, listen. Now I've been.
Tell me,
this place. Oh god, this plate.
Did you try the Swedish meatballs?
I didn't eat the food. I don't eat food at furniture restaurants. I'm sorry, I just don't.
Oh no, they're actually pretty good.
What this place is? It is. For a while, I had some specific colored light bulbs in my room, right? Mm-hmm. In this room, of course, this is great for audio listeners at home. But I had a blue one and a red one next to each other. And Cameron noticed this cool, like, kind of curve in my ceiling, and the light would come together and form this, like, purple.
It was, like, weird. It was so cool.
Nice purplish. The red bulb is evil. The blue bulb is good. IKEA exists in the space between the two. It is an amazing place where you can get amazing stuff for amazing value. That store is laid out to confuse you and to get lost in. It is designed for Lost. And
now, are we talking Lost like the island Lost? Or?
I'm talking there was a polar bear, and then there was a man in a chamber, and he had to press the button when the light turned on every 53 minutes. And then next thing you know, we're back in time. I wrote Empire Strikes Back.
What?
No, we were not lost. CBS, NBC, I don't remember which network it was on.
It's okay.
Not that lost. But it took us we were on a time crunch. Mistake number one. Go there planning to spend the whole day there.
Wow.
It's that bad. But we went in, and I was like, I know exactly what I needed. But then we started looking, right? It took me about 20 minutes just to walk through the thing. Just like, once we figured out what we needed, a beeline to the end, it took 20 minutes to get there. Mainly because everyone was like shambling. Like, oh, look at this. I'm going to stop here and look at this. I'm like, can you please go? Please. Like, please move.
Just push
Continue moving. It reminded me a lot of an amusement park, actually. There is a map. There are maps to help you navigate. There are signs to direct you to like the restroom and things like that. Like, you know, there's signs in like a department store, but you're like, okay, I know what the restroom is. It's the one like door out. You can usually see all of a department store, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is like chambers. You enter. It's like I was in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It's like, this is the chamber where you have to catch the flying keys. Oh, there's also a fucking kitchen in here. Like I couldn't. I got a really awesome desk. It's actually a kitchen table.
Sure.
So that tells you a little bit about my computer setup now. But it was an experience to say the least. TLDR, spend all day at IKEA. Boy, it's pretty great. That furniture is not as cheap as people make it out to be.
So, as you described it earlier, so the blue is Paragon, the red is Renegade, and IKEA is like when you start the game and you haven't really chosen a side yet.
Neutral.
Speaking of
That is the character alignment.
Did you guys see the Mass Effect combat trailer?
Chaz.
You didn't even listen to the last episode, did you?
Oh,
Chaz.
yeah.
Chaz.
Check out episode 54.
GITGUD.
I have a picture for that, actually.
Get good, scrub. The question is, have you seen the part 2 of that, where they talk about the favorites?
Right.
Yes.
Listen, we're not talking about Mass Effect. Mass Effect is coming. The dragons are coming. Mass Effect is coming.
I saw that.
I will make sure that Mass Effect is covered thoroughly.
Okay.
Don't worry
Okay.
about that. Don't worry.
Okay.
We've got a lot between now and then.
Okay. March, man.
March Madness is not just for basketball anymore.
Okay.
It's for video games too. That's bad.
Yeah.
Cut the feed.
That was
Someone cut his mic cable.
Okay, so March is getting crazy, right? It is. I don't even want to, Horizon kicks us off into just this.
When you think about it, it hurts my brain.
Do you remember I can't remember which Assassin's Creed game this comes from, because they all blend together at the end. But the one where you had to do that escape from the harbor, I think it was 3, maybe.
3 is
that's Colonial America. Yeah,
yes,
I think it was 3. And there's like this scene where you have to escape from the harbor, and it's very, very scripted. Like, you have to follow the directions exactly. Like, it's like you turn a corner and there's a line of riflemen, and you have to duck behind this like certain object. Like, that's the only available path. And so it wasn't about exploring. It was more about just executing on the path that they paved out for you.
Yeah.
That's what March is. We're just simply like, we just have, here's Horizon. Well, there goes $60. Oh, collector's edition 100. There we go. Too bad. Rip. And it's just moving on throughout the entire month of March.
Yeah.
However, there is a thing has been happening. I think it started back in November of last year. And I want to talk about this is the time to talk about it, because we're right in that sweet spot right before E3 hype starts to really kick in. And that is Microsoft, specifically the Xbox brand within Microsoft. And I'm a Microsoft dude. This is going to be a very hard conversation for me to have. But it is time to talk for real. Like, let's sit down and talk about Microsoft, because I am a huge Xbox fan, and I love the series and franchises that Xbox makes. I am, for the first time in probably ever, very concerned about not the Xbox brand. Like, and the weird part about this is I'm not necessarily feeling that this is like a all or nothing. Like,
Xbox is doomed. Or
it's like
that.
Xbox is dying. It's not that. It's that Xbox is evolving into this new thing, and it sounds so cool, but it also sounds super duper terrifying and not great for Xbox as a brand. So let's talk about Microsoft.
Sure.
They have had some pretty sour news, right? I think Lionhead's closure was one of the first big.
That kind of started down the path.
That was the first, like, oh, that really sucks. Okay, well, you got to clean house. You know, this is I've said it before. The Don, taking out Don Matrick's trash. Like, that is what Phil Spencer's been doing for 3 fucking years. Bless your soul. Thank you. But the next thing you know is Phantom Dust, right? Getting canceled, whatever the hell they're doing now.
Phantom Dust was slated to be a complete reboot. Then they canceled it and just said, "Oh, we're just going to remaster it, the original game."
And that's fine, whatever. The Crackdown 3,
Still,
who knows where that lives?
Crickets.
Yeah, crickets for sure. And there's like, and then Scalebound was truly like Scalebound
was the biggest one.
Scalebound was the assassination of Franz Ferdinand.
Ooh.
It doesn't matter, like. Franz Ferdinand didn't fucking matter. But it was like the thing that made me like, okay, there is a problem. Like this is like the touch point of like, okay, that was a big game. That was on like, this is the second time one of your giant fucking E3 announcements that were on your promo page for your holidays for the Xbox has been straight up canned.
And I even remember like, I remember seeing one, I think it was either last year or the year before, where they had the banner with the 5 characters for their exclusive games, and it was Lara Croft, Master Chief, Marcus Phoenix, the Forza Horizon car, and Fable. Fable's gone. Lara Croft was a timed exclusive. It's now on other platforms. You had Master Chief and Marcus Phoenix, and then a car.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Horizon is probably one of the best racing franchises. No, that's
their games are good. It's just I would say, as far as the cars, like, it's very hard for people, and especially gamers now, to care about car games. And it's like, although, we've played Forza Horizon 3. It is really,
I enjoy that
great.
game.
It's really
that
good.
Let's Play is over on YouTube.com. / Rocket Punch Plays. So you'll find that in there. So I want to run through. This is a weird thing to talk about, but the most important thing is games, right? I want to talk about the games that are coming out, but I also want to talk a little bit about the platforms themselves and the direction that they're heading, because as we get closer to E3, I believe that this E3 is going to be the divergence between Microsoft and Sony. They're not going to be driving next to each other anymore. They're going to have different strategies. And now, I don't know what Sony does. Like, Yoshida's going to go in and take pictures of everything like he always does, and who knows if he copies it or not. I don't know. But the fact is that Microsoft has made a very stark turn. They kind of did that last year. They announced that last year. And this year is going to be like follow through on that, and I don't think Sony's willing to go that direct. They're not willing to go to the post numbered console world. But we'll get to that. First up, the games. This is when I sat down and I was like, okay, something's wrong, and this needs to be a podcast topic. Here are some Xbox exclusives. Most of these are looking at 2017. Some may be beyond that, but I want to run through them real quick. So, Halo Wars 2 just came out. I think Halo Wars.
Okay. Before we go into this, because we're going to get into, of course, because you're with everyone at this fucking table, we're going to get into semantics and titles. Elaborate on what you mean by Xbox exclusive.
So what I feel about this is there is an Xbox, there is a PlayStation 4. Those consoles only get one of the games, like. Because we're going to talk about the Xbox PC thing in a little bit. But like games that are only coming out on that platform, where if I don't own a gaming computer, these are the options that I have. Because there are a lot of people who that is their situation.
Okay, now I guess we'll get into the semantics and talk about it. Shoot off some games.
But like games that you're going to only be able to play on an Xbox 360. Halo Wars 2.
Xbox One.
Sorry, Xbox One. Halo Wars 2. State of Decay 2. And these are first party, these are first party titles so far. Crackdown 3, again, crickets, who knows. Sea of Thieves, Phantom Dust.
I thought that was canceled.
It's
weird remaster.
It's a remaster.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna say it is a pale comparison, but like to me, this game is about as important as the Crash reboot. Like the Crash reboot is really cool and it's awesome, but it is not like it's not a Horizon. It's not a Uncharted 4. It's not like a game that's going to carry console sales.
Continue down the list.
But yes. Some other weird reboot things. Voodoo Vince. Below, this is an indie game that I'm really excited for. I'm still
super pumped for Below.
I need this game to just come out. Like, it has reached that point now of like, okay, this, and
wasn't this one of the games that we thought it was going to come out last year, and then all of a sudden they just said, we're going dark, you'll hear from us whenever we're ready?
Cuphead, same story.
Yep. Very cool.
Thimbleweed Park, Tacoma, and We Happy Few are just a few to name. I think We Happy Few will eventually come out on PS4 because it's early access right now, but
okay.
And those are the last few were a couple stretches, some indie game stretches. I don't have a great list. We have the Super Master list just filled with stuff, so you may fill in gaps here for me.
Oh, say what you're going to say. I'll help you fill the gaps.
Yeah,
for the
Cameron, I know that Cameron will help me fill in the gaps. But, so I took that list, right? Strategy game, zombie survival game, a really cool looking open world action game, but we don't know anything about. Sea of Thieves, I still, like, I love the idea of Sea of Thieves. I still don't see the game there. And No Man's Sky has already happened, so I am not going to be buying video games without games anymore. And so those are like the Xbox first parties that we know about so far.
Right.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Probably going to be a Witcher 3 level. Not only critically, but like from what this game is looking like so far, it's probably it may be that Mass Effect of this generation.
And like, just as a quick plug on that, everyone will know because hopefully this goes out on Tuesday. We will have a Rocket Punch Live big event where we will be streaming Horizon Zero Dawn. So if you are one of the 12 people who didn't buy this game at launch, you can definitely come over to Rocket Punch or at twitch.tv/Rocket Punch Live.
We're gonna have streams up on rocketpunchgo.com.
Yeah,
so
we'll get into the details after this episode, but yeah, definitely be on the lookout for that. But I'm pumped. I cannot wait. The reviews came out. It is as awesome as everybody says it is.
Yeah.
I'm ready for
and
it.
I keep saying this word, like, the Mass Effect of this generation. Mass Effect defined last fucking gen for me. Like, Mass Effect was the game that, like, if you talked about games that, like, personified the previous generation, some may say the Call of Duty franchise was there, but Mass Effect started and ended in that generation, and it was, like, it is very representative. And I'm going back to play this new Mass Effect because it looks intriguing, but, again, like, Mass Effect was a child of the Xbox 360 and PS3 era. The big difference here is it came out on both of those consoles. So if Horizon ends up being the game that defines this, or one of the big games that defines this generation, and it only lives on PS4, that is a huge group of people who miss out on this amazing game.
Yep.
Anyways, let's continue on. Just a few. Nier Automaton, fun JRPG, Persona 5.
You can put down Nier if you want to, but I know there's a huge big deal about Nier for people who have played Nier.
I love Nier. Yeah, I love Nier Automata I am very excited to play. It is coming out at the most unfortunate time. Boy, it is coming out right between not the Switch and Mass Effect. It all ends with Mass Effect for Seth. It ends with Mass Effect.
See, you say that until you start playing your Switch instead of Mass Effect.
Yeah. A big one that came out so far is Neo.
Neo's
I haven't played Neo myself, but I know that
that was a big hit.
It was a big hit.
I think it was it was Bloodborne. I dare say even bigger than Bloodborne as far as a hit for people. They didn't expect
the Crash reboot, the Crash remastered
Insane
Trilogy.
Which there are rumors that may not be exclusive, so that's kind of sitting on that thing. There's no confirmation yet, but nothing's been said yet.
And then beyond that, like, there are other titles. None of these.
I'll give you a rundown. I'll give you a couple of rundowns, especially some that have come out probably within the last year, and some that are coming up that we may have dropped out. Yakuza 0 that came out this year. That's an exclusive to PlayStation 4. Valkyria Chronicles remaster. That is a remaster, but that was a big game there. Of course, your Uncharted's. That's definitely on there. Star Ocean, if you're a big Star Ocean fan. Ratchet and Clank.
Bloodborne was way back, but
yeah, Bloodborne. I don't want to go that far back. Okay. The Last Guardian. That was actually, apparently, a lot of people like that game. It won some awards at DICE this past week. I don't think it's as big as some of the other games on here, aside from its story and its backdrop. Gravity Rush 2. That was apparently a big game a lot of fans wanted. And even just diving in, I'm looking at a list, and I'm going to talk about this list once I'm done. coming up, The Last of Us Part 2.
Right.
That game. I hate to, I know that Final Fantasy VII Remake, I hate to even include those because those games are at least 2.5 years out. They're not even close to coming out. So
regardless, they're still exclusive.
They're still coming out, yeah.
They're still slated exclusive for the platform.
You have God of War, right?
God of War, and I wasn't even going to mention that, but yeah, God of War, Days Gone, which they've talked about. MLB The Show. People forget that is really the only place you can play a baseball game on a console, and it's exclusive to Sony and PlayStation.
And people love that franchise.
Yeah, that is a very big deal. Death Stranding is exclusive to Sony PlayStation. The Spider-Man game from Insomniac is exclusive to PlayStation 4. Detroit Become Human. We've seen video and capture of that. And there's a big list. And just as a reference for people who are listening, and we are going to talk about this, but if you go to Gamatsu, for gamers who know Gamatsu's website, I'll try to include links in the show notes. There's actually a really cool part of their website where they actually show you exclusives, and you can break down exclusives based on full exclusive where it's only released on that platform exclusive where it's on the family, like Xbox One, Xbox 360, console exclusives, time exclusives, generation exclusives. There's a whole little list, and if you haven't gotten a chance, I've looked at it. I went through and I looked at all I did was look at full console exclusive, which are games released exclusively on one platform for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and it made me very, very, very sad because I think that they break it up into upcoming releases and released games. Sony has a lot as far as for the PlayStation 4 goes. For the Xbox One, I think upcoming full exclusives, there was 2. And then for exclusives that have already been released, there was 6. And I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, 7. And some of those are Sunset Overdrive, Halo 5 Guardians, Halo the Master Chief Collection, and Forza Motorsport 5 and Rare Replay are part of that 7 that are on the full exclusives that have been released on the Xbox console, and that really hurts and concerns me a lot.
Well, I tend to look at this as the way Microsoft looks at it. You can choose to look at it in terms of console exclusives, what's coming out for the Xbox One, the console, right? But I tend to look at it as into Microsoft the platform. Microsoft the platform, including Windows 10 and Xbox One. Because just based off of their new gaming updates they're bringing over to Windows 10, the support they're having for streamers to interact with their communities and all of that stuff, and the creator update for them to do everything, new tools for Windows 10 to enable gamers to, make their streaming personalized and all of that. I think Microsoft is really looking towards the future where the Xbox One isn't just the console that you buy for exclusive stuff, that the Xbox One is the PC that you buy not only to do Windows 10 stuff with, but to also play Xbox
in this
games
one,
on.
if I could offer just concerns I have with that, and we're all going to bounce around and give our ideas. The concerns and problems I have with that, and we'll also put in the show notes, we did watch the Colin Was Right video about the Xbox exclusives, and he made some good points. And one of the points that has stuck home with me, and I'm really concerned with, is the fact of, especially the list, Seth, that you listed on just a few of those Xbox exclusives. I know you put them down, but I'm very certain that most all of those games, if not all of them, are going to be on PC. And my concern isn't necessarily Microsoft. Yes, it does include Windows gaming. They're trying to make the Windows Store in Windows a much bigger avenue, and Microsoft and Xbox, the console. But with their Xbox Play Anywhere program, it is very cool. It's super, super awesome. But I think for a lot of potential buyers out there, it may be challenging for them to try and justify a $250, $300 console purchase when most of their games, and especially their big, quote, exclusive titles like the Halo series and the Gear series, are going to be on PC. It's especially like if they already have a PC that they can purchase,
right,
or that they can just buy the game for.
right.
And as far as, we can jump the gun on exclusives and what they mean. We're not going to get too much into that, but I know that Sony has done a good job of giving you the exclusives that make you want to purchase a PlayStation 4.
Right.
Like Horizon Zero Dawn and the Uncharted series and things like that. And I'm scared for Xbox as a console.
Mhm.
If you get to that point when Halo 6 comes out and they say, oh, it's Xbox Play Anywhere for Windows 10 and for Xbox Project Scorpio or whatever.
Mhm.
And then some people, especially these guys that have these gaming PCs, that are like, well, I could just upgrade. I could take a few $100s and upgrade my gaming PC instead of buying the Scorpio.
But do you know how many gaming PC manufacturers and people who are making graphics cards and processors love that? Like, they'll sit there and they'll say, oh, yeah, we'll go ahead and support Microsoft all day. You don't see, NVIDIA jumping on, like, the PS4 bandwagon being like, okay, we're going to go ahead and make, PS4, exclusive chipsets and all. I'm like, no, because they're looking at it going like, sure, you can go ahead and get a $250 Xbox, or you can upgrade your PC with a GTX 10,
my big concern is just
and pay $500 to upgrade that, and then you're good.
My concern is from the Microsoft hardware manufacturing perspective. Like, it could potentially cost them money. Like,
Right.
we're making these consoles and we're manufacturing these consoles because really they already have the GPU chipset. Only one person's benefiting
Right.
from purchasing an Xbox One, and that's AMD.
Right.
Because they've got the chipset in there. But if they're manufacturing these consoles and they're not selling them, that's hurting Microsoft's bottom line, and that could cause Microsoft have enough money, but that could cause some damage to the Microsoft brand as a whole, and affect them depending on how that goes.
I want to bring this conversation back to games.
Okay.
Definitely, like, hardware is irrelevant right now. I think the strength. We joke about it all the time, like this. Everything ends with Mario on his throne of bones, right? We joke about it, and the moral of that story is that Nintendo does whatever the fuck it wants because it has the IP to back it up. We will buy rocks if they play Zelda and Mario. Like,
And Smash Brothers
if you open that rock up and inside is a machine that plays Breath of the Wild, yep, get ready. Where's the money go? Like, that is Nintendo's luxury because they've spent basically 40 years building a library of fantastic games, and they put the spit and polish on their games that merits that, right? Blizzard is very similar, right? They don't release a lot of games, but boy, when they release a game, it's an event, right?
Yeah.
And we will do what they say because that's, we're going to buy a game for $40, but it's going to have a shit ton of microtransaction bullshit, and we're going to be okay with it because Overwatch is good, right? Like, that's the fact of the matter, and we've talked about that en masse. So, for me, the strength of a platform is not in the consoles per se, like which one's got more gigabits than the other one, but it is in the breadth of games that you have open to you.
Mhm.
I think exclusives are probably the worst thing that happens in the industry, period. I hate that exclusives happen, but they are necessary. They are necessary evil because that's someone wants to pay to get the upper hand, right?
I was going to say, like, if there are no exclusives, then there should not be multiple consoles. There should only be one console. You get every game on it, in my opinion.
Like, and I think that if, like a multi-platform game like Mass Effect, right? Mass Effect Andromeda comes out.
Mhm.
You talk about exclusive content.
Well, there's exclusive content, but you buy it on the platform that makes the most sense to you, right? Like, Xbox, I would say, has a lot of awesome, like, online networking features. Stuff like looking for group and things like that would make it really easy to get into co-op games. Maybe you like the beam streaming that's built. Like, those are platform features that enhance your experience, right? Versus not having access to a game, right? PS4 owners didn't get to touch the amazingness of Rise of the Tomb Raider for a year. Did it help sell Xbox consoles that Christmas? Yes, it did. But I feel bad that people missed out on that. That's not the point that I'm trying to make. The point is, when you run down this list of games, Halo Wars 2, me personally, don't care about strategy games. My brain doesn't work that fast. Like, and sure, it's great that it's the Halo brand, but like, the scary thing is I feel like Xbox is turning into like the Halo machine. Like the people joke about it, but I'm like, I can't. If Halo's the only thing that gets me excited about the Xbox, when you've got stuff Horizon Zero Dawn, Neo, just like Persona 5, like just all of these, and it feels like what it feels like now is like Microsoft is fighting this war, basically a war against other. It feels like everything's turned against them now. Like the Don Matrick mistakes are just like now compounding on themselves in a way that like people aren't releasing games on the platform. Period.
I don't,
and it that super concerns me.
And my thing is I don't see Xbox as just its singular platform. I see Microsoft as a whole. I see, like, you're talking about exclusives for Xbox, but there's Windows 10. There's a whole bunch of things that are exclusive to Steam that don't come on PS4.
But 97% of that, I mean, I wish I had an actual number,
right.
But most of that sales goes into Valve's pocket, not into Microsoft's pocket. Like,
and also, Valve
doesn't affect
Valve
Microsoft
and
at
Steam
all.
Machine are kings of the PC gaming realm.
Right.
And you've got GOG, you've got Humble, you've got all these other companies in there, and it's fine if Microsoft wants to enter that, but Microsoft is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. They can't work with good old games money. Like they have to win big. They have to win beyond big, or their investors will lose faith in that brand.
They're already jumping into an industry where, like, it's like you said, you threw out a random number, 97%, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's that far off. Like, people, it is very hard for people to pull themselves away from Steam, and Microsoft, if they want to get into that, they have to make a very, very convincing argument to tell people, hey, get games on the Windows Store.
And so far, I was going to buy Resident Evil 7 on Xbox. Like, I was going to purchase it because of the Play Anywhere. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I get on there and I start reading, and people are like, this is a Windows Universal app, UA, or WUA, whatever. And it's just like, this development platform has been out for a year, and it's, like, super buggy. Like, the game on PC is super buggy.
Oh,
and,
I
like, I think that PCs, for the most part, power through their stuff. Mm-hmm. I saw a great video. It's like, make 1080 recommended card, get away with not optimizing your game. Like, and it was the dude tapping his head, a stupid meme, but like, that is kind of the culture on PC. You just power through the problems, right? Unless you're Batman Arkham Knight, then.
And I kind of piggyback off you, Seth, on that case. Just of, I fear like nothing. I'm trying to think. Nothing fresh has come from Microsoft. Scalebound would have been one of the newest, freshest breaths of fresh air for Microsoft and its platform, and it gets canceled. I don't even know, but it felt like that game was pretty far along. There were builds. There were like gameplay builds that people had played, and they said it was buggy.
Right.
But, I mean, it
just wasn't coming together.
You think about, as far as just thinking about what Microsoft as of late, and you hear Microsoft and Xbox One and what games you're thinking about. You're thinking about Halo. You're thinking about Gears of War. We're already at Gears of War 4, and they're looking to expand that probably to another trilogy. We're looking at Halo. We just got Halo 5. And guess what? There's going to be a sixth one because they wanted to expand that to another trilogy. Yeah. And in looking at those games, especially the last two, well, Halo 5 had a lot of big changes because it had a brand new studio. But I'll pick on Gears 4 for a second. What was really different? What really was like, it doesn't have to be necessarily innovative, but something like, man, this is really cool. This is fresh. This is a different spin on Gears that I've never seen before. Was there really anything in Gears 4? And I'm not knocking Gears 4. I love Gears 4. It's a great game.
It's a good game, but it's Gears. And the thing that really bugs me about Microsoft at this point, and I was thinking like, well, Guerrilla Games made Killzone for an entire console generation, right? Mm-hmm. Like they were shackled to that franchise, right? But like Microsoft names these studios after their fucking games. 343 is named after fucking Halo. The Coalition is named after Gears. If you work for the Coalition, you work for Gears. And that development studio will never not. Now, they may make a new studio.
I want to touch on this real quick because I know we want some other points to get on. What you just brought up, think about those studios that Microsoft and Sony have in their first party. And like, if you're thinking of 343, you're thinking that's the Halo studio. If you're thinking of the Coalition, that's the Gears studio. Yep. And going in there as a developer, you may feel like, oh, if I go work for the Coalition, I know I'm going to make Gears of War games. If I go to the 343, I know I'm going to make Halo games in some form or fashion. And not picking on either company, but like looking at Guerrilla Games, like Guerrilla Games had been making Killzone. They were the Killzone company. And Sony finally came out and said, you know what? Build up your team, get some other people, make something different. And they've made something different.
They also made Rigs.
The VR game, which apparently is supposed to be pretty decent on VR, but as far as like, especially Naughty Dog has made The Last of Us, Uncharted, Jak and Daxter. They're not, you think of them as the Uncharted studio, but they also have a breadth of other games, very different games that they've made. And I can name other studios as well, but that's bringing that idea. I don't. It may not have been the best idea to name your studio after a game you're making.
But what I think Microsoft hasn't done, and this is what really made me catch on to this, was they're trying to make, Phil has talked multiple times about the portfolio, right? The breadth of games that they offer, and making sure that there's something for everybody on the Xbox platform. I appreciate that. If I had been Phil Spencer and I had been sitting on my couch playing and booted up The Witcher 3 to play it, I would have, as soon as I finished that game, would have gotten on the phone and been like, when are we going to make ours? Like, who do we have that could make this level of game, an open world role-playing game? Because I know that my console does not have a strong background in role-playing games. It doesn't.
Nope.
Blue Dragon was one of the original.
That's the only one most people can think of.
That's the only thing you can think of. And it's awesome, but it was like a one-off for the 360, right? And you've got the PlayStation always gets the benefit of the doubt when it comes to that, because Japanese developers will basically only develop for that. Like, so you're already at a disadvantage there. And so I don't understand why Guerrilla Games was able to get Horizon done before Microsoft even, like, they're not even trying to do that.
See, this is why I'm getting a little bit confused, because I'm trying to figure out where the fear's coming from. Because in my head, I'm thinking that Xbox isn't trying to be its own thing. It's slowly being absorbed into the rest of Microsoft. That Xbox will be, instead of Xbox is changing. It's not coming out of its own. Like you said, this E3, it's going to look like Xbox is going to be, hey, instead of buying that $2,000 gaming PC, buy a gaming PC for $599, or you can go with a $399 game console, or a $299 handheld thing that you can take with you.
So let me ask you this, Chaz.
Right.
What happens in 5 to 10 years,
right,
when the sales of the Xbox One are pretty low,
right,
because they've doubled down? Everyone buys all their stuff on Xbox or on PC now, right? Maybe the PC is the Xbox now.
Right.
And Mass Effect Andromeda 2 comes out.
Right.
It's time to launch on the PC, which is now the primary Xbox development platform.
Right.
But EA has Origin. They're never going to release it on anything other than Origin, because that's their platform.
Yeah.
So now, me as an Xbox gamer misses out on what should be an awesome multi-platform exclusive. I don't miss out on it, though. Microsoft misses out on the money. I buy it on Origin, and EA gets the money. But that's what I'm like.
EA already has their EA program on Xbox right now.
That's fine, but
right? So they'll just release it on that EA platform that you already have for your Xbox.
No, so here's the thing. They won't, because if it's just a gaming PC,
right,
what will end up happening is EA gets 100% of the money if they sell it through Origin. If they sell it through the Xbox store, they have to give Microsoft a licensing cut.
Yeah.
But they don't if you have a... My thing is that your Xbox is a PC.
Right.
That's what it is. Like, you download Origin on your
here's
PC.
The problem. Here's the problem.
Yeah.
With that, okay?
Yeah.
Microsoft makes most of its Xbox money not off of you buying hardware,
right,
but of licensing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have to pay a licensing fee, Xbox goes away.
Well, the other thing is, the other thing as well,
it becomes a PC.
The other thing is, well, no,
some people are not okay with
all
that.
console. I mean, if you want to break it down, and I want to dig
all
too
consoles
deep,
are PCs.
All consoles are PCs,
right? Yeah,
and you're talking about, even if you're talking about Xbox as the brand, we're talking about Xbox as the console. Even if the console goes away and Xbox is now this front page store app that you get on your Windows PC, and that's Xbox. That is Xbox.
I don't want Xbox to be an app on my PC.
Microsoft gave it away when they made Xbox an app on
Well,
your PC.
and even
Well, as soon as they did that, it was done.
Well,
like
I'm saying
they were
you-
then, now they did the Xbox Play Anywhere, so they conceded the fact that not only can you get these games on your PC, but you can also get them on your
I say,
Xbox.
like,
Yeah.
even
I
on
mean,
that,
they started this ball rolling. It's just
even
gonna
on
merge.
that front, going back to what Seth and I were talking about earlier, there is still Steam. There is still Valve, the
Yeah.
great wall in front
Mhm.
of them, and they have to overcome that. And right now, and it's no offense to Xbox,
Mhm.
the Windows Store is nowhere near the depth and breadth, and that's why Steam can be
Mm-hmm.
Steam and literally have no innovation, no upgrade, anything. They've been the same thing for years,
And that's fine, because if I was Microsoft right now, I would make it in such a way that whatever iteration Windows 10 turns into, that you will need that WU whatever to run any app on the Xbox or on the PC.
and that's,
then
and that's
PCs
one of the
Hey.
And that's what is probably going to happen, that the infrastructure for Windows 10 will change to the point where developers will need to develop.
We
and
are
then
sorry.
license.
I've got to pull
I
us
know,
out. I've
I
got to
know.
get us out of hypothetical land. We can't exist here.
Right.
What I want to talk about now is we get a sense of where Xbox is heading.
Right.
We get a sense of where Microsoft is heading. What does the future look like there? Because I don't feel like we have the whole picture. Sony is very clear. Listen. I'm not saying this as someone who favors Xbox. Sony would like nothing more than for nothing to change.
I actually think that's false, but
I'm talking about the way that consoles are produced. They want PlayStation 5, they want PlayStation 6, they want PlayStation 7. They do not want anything to change because when you look at them worldwide, their brand is a powerhouse.
yeah, I still to some. We'll have arguments
There's-
after
yeah,
off
but
the mic.
what
that I
I'm
would
sa-
disagree
what I'm
to
what
some-
I'm
a
sa-
big
what I'm
extent,
saying here is that
respectfully.
like the idea
For the
of
sake of argument.
the idea of allowing the freedom of where you play those games, and I say the word freedom very loosely because Microsoft's freedom is on any Microsoft platform.
Right.
But that freedom to play your games wherever, Sony doesn't want that. They want you to buy the game on their platform and play it on their box. They're not going to release Horizon on Steam. Like, they won't do it. Even though it will make them a lot of money and they'll sell more copies, they won't do it because their console brand is valuable to them. So with Xbox abandoning that, or flirting with the idea of abandoning a box that is a Xbox, what does that look like going forward? And I have a theory about it, and I want to talk about both of them, right? PlayStation's already kind of played their hand a little bit with the PS4 Pro. And people are buying it. I think, even Colin in his video, he said people are buying it. It doesn't make much sense, but people are buying it, and that's what matters. If people buy it, you have one, right? You
Yep,
just got one.
I just got one. I'm excited to get a chance to test it out, just because I had extra money and I wanted to upgrade. So, but I mean, I'm sure it'll be cool. It's not a necessary upgrade, but it was just something cool to have.
Yeah. And the huge question mark on this is Scorpio. Like, Scorpio will be, once we get details about Scorpio,
What is Scorpio? Yeah.
we will know what Xbox plans to do for the next decade. My theory is that Scorpio is going to be the quote-unquote Surface of gaming PCs.
Right.
Which, if you think about the Surface, what it did, it came out, it's basically Microsoft's vision of a laptop, right? They made a tablet laptop hybrid. People laughed at it for 3 years, and then all of a sudden everyone started copying it, and now everyone wants it, right? Like, that's the kind of gist, right? Like, that's kind of what happened with it, is they made this weird product. And I feel like Scorpio is going to be, like, go back and watch that video, look at that silhouette. That thing's a fucking tower. It is not a vertical or horizontal sit on your entertainment system type of deal. Now, it may turn sideways and be that, but I feel like the Scorpio is a full God Bless America modular console, where when a new graphic processor comes out for the Xbox, of course it's going to be Xbox. You remember the Xbox 360S? Remember that hard drive replacement? You like open that panel up.
Even better, the replaceable hard drives on the 360, where the top part
it just
of
like pops
came
off. Like, and I imagine the Scorpio as you pop a panel off the side, and then there's a plastic box that says GPU. You pull that out, and when a new one comes out, you pop it in. Right? That is that's my tinfoil hat theory of what Scorpio is. And if they do that, then at that point they've basically maintained the console experience, but they've now brought in the idea of like, oh, this is the PC for everyone. This is the gamer PC for non-techie people. And if they can price it right, then sure.
I would even say it's just the gamer PC, because it's as a console is really just a specialized
gaming PC.
Yeah,
and that's
now,
what it would.
There's going to be I mean, I think most people here at this table would not probably want to buy a pre-made PC. You'd probably want to build it yourself. Like, people want their LEDs and they want their 1080s and whatever. Like, people would rather build that. But the Scorpio, I feel like, is going to just streamline the purchase of a gaming PC. Like, to me, that's the only way this makes sense. Like, that's the only way that moving the Xbox to the PC makes sense, is if you can lock down the PC market. As far as, like, fine, if you want to move everything to the PC, then you need to own the hardware manufacturing. And they have a Surface Studio, which is their desktop, desktop thing. They have the Surface, which is their mobile thing, but they don't have that powerhouse powerhouse machine. That's what I feel like Scorpio is going to be.
And somewhat like of
thoughts,
a bird in the canary, or like in the coal mine type thing. Steam, like a couple of years ago, tried making those Steam machines because they were, they publicly said, "Hey, Microsoft is trying to get more of our pie. They're trying to license software and everything. We're gonna go away from Microsoft. We're gonna go on Linux." And then we all saw how that turned out, because most developers were like,
extreme half measure on Valve's part,
right? They're like, developers were like, "No, we're not developing for Linux," and they're like, "Well, why?" Because Windows is the more popular platform. Plus, we all know that better. And
to learn an entirely new OS
just
and
to
system
release
is
on
just
your
a
box,
pain in the butt.
So I mean, like,
when the money on the table is on the PC, right? That's where the money's on the table,
right?
So you contrast that with Sony, which is really just investing in PlayStation 4. Like, Colin's stat was 2-to-1, right? 2 PlayStations sell for every 1 Xbox One.
It's roughly about that now from the numbers we looked at before.
And what, 55 million?
It's 55 to 28 million.
28 approximately. Xbox is hard to tell because we don't get solid numbers from them, but we know 55 million PS4s. That's a huge gap, right? So it behooves PlayStation to invest in that, right? Be like, maximize value, and that's what they're doing this year. Horizon, Nier, Persona 5, Neo, just to name a few, right? There's a bajillion others. They just want to make sure now that the 55 million people are happy and that they're ready to buy PlayStation 5 when it comes out in 2 to 3 years. So,
and Will, you want to say a piece, because I've got words.
Yeah. So honestly, I have all the platforms. I have a gaming PC, all that stuff, but I don't find myself turning my Xbox on unless there's a new Halo out. I'm gonna be honest. There's nothing over there that I can't get on another platform, and it kind of saddens me because I want my Xbox to work well. I want new content. I want something creative. They have Rare. They have part of my childhood locked away, and they're not using it.
You can buy it for $10 on Amazon. It's called a Rare Replay.
No, I have the Rare Replay. I'm talking about, like, this is a studio that had a big impact on my childhood.
But new games maybe from, like, those IPs that we haven't seen in a while.
Exactly. I mean,
and Sea of Thieves is coming. Like,
it's coming.
And it looks cool.
Maybe.
We'll see. I think
we saw what happened with Scalebound.
Well, no.
I mean, it's still Sea of Thieves is in a tech alpha, so I'm actually curious of when that game's going to come out. I thought it was going to be this year, but I guess I heard Major
Nelson talking they went and played it. No.
It's 2017. They've already confirmed it's a 2017 release. Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I just don't feel a pull to turn on my Xbox One. I turn on my PC regularly. I turn on my PS4 regularly. My Wii U's been sitting unplugged for a while. Sorry.
Don't worry. You don't care. We don't care about that after this week. It won't matter. Nothing
right.
Matters
but I'm just saying, like, honestly, my PS4, that's turned on every day. I'm pretty much right now the exact opposite of Seth. Like, my PS4 gets used every day.
What bothers me about this is I'm a super big Xbox fan, but I'm freaking worried. Like, I am legitimately worried because I feel like, this worry was from the very beginning of the Xbox just, like, fucked itself over in 2013. Like, wow, just got fucked.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Don. Like, God. Anyways,
and
like,
I love my 360.
The worry was started then, but again, like I've said this before, there is primary platforms, right? There are platforms that developers favor over others, and if money is an issue, they will prioritize that platform over everything else.
Usually it is the platform that is selling the most because they have the best saturation.
That's why you got Backwards Dragons on PS3 for Skyrim. No joke. Skyrim is no joke. Probably the most important game of last generation when you think about like longevity, shelf life, and just like that game just fucking was bonkers.
That's
like,
why we still get it for the Switch this year.
Yeah, exactly. And so like I am concerned now that I'm going to ride out the next 3 years and I'm going to have another Halo. I'm going to have another Gears to show for it. I may have a couple of things that have been out on Steam for 6 months. Like, I'm just worried.
But if I'm a developer, though, I mean, we're looking at it doesn't hurt Xbox if the platforms for PC and Xbox are the same.
It absolutely slaughters the Xbox because they have no exclusives at that point other than like the 3.
I'm just saying, like, Xbox is going to be PC. It's going to be a Windows 10 box.
If I raise my hand,
we're talking now, though.
I give my spiel, and I understand the points, and some points that I'm thinking of. Number one, about just the exclusive stuff, and just speaking on exclusives, because that is a big part of why we're talking about Xbox and Sony and everything like that, is that we all want everybody to have those games. Most everyone on this table has multiple consoles. I think that's not even a question. I think we're very blessed, lucky to have that opportunity. There are people that don't have the opportunity to get a PS4 and an Xbox One. They can only choose one. And that's where they have to look at those. What am I getting exclusively? What am I getting on this end? The point of exclusives is to drive people to that platform. That's why Microsoft has Halo. Halo is one of probably the perennial first-person shooters of all time. Sony does not have that. Period. The closest they have is Killzone, and guess what? Killzone's dead after Tuesday, kids. It's done. Like, Guerrilla Games will probably not be making another one of those for a very long time. They have Gears, which is one of the perennial cover shooter games. Really started, I think we talked about it at lunch today, it started the ramp up of cover-based shooters in the 360 PS3 generation. But you also have Sony's exclusive lineup. Yes, you could look at that from either coin, that yes, okay, all their exclusives are, they're tied to PS4. I have to get a PS4 to get it. But always remember, this is one of my first points. Number one is that they're businesses. And at the end of the day, they're going to talk to you and tell you, it's great to be a gamer, and they're going to give you all these options, but they are there to get your money. And that's not a bad thing. I don't want people to think that because they're trying to take your money, it's a bad thing, because they have to have money to keep those servers running on Xbox Live or try and keep PlayStation Network as stable as they can on the PlayStation side.
Hey, they have to feed a lot of hamsters. To keep
okay. But as far as my concern, at least on the exclusive front, is that Sony, and I don't think anybody at this table will doubt, when the PS4 came out, Sony was slow on the exclusive bandwagon. I think they had Killzone Shadowfall, which was really one of the launch titles that I wanted to play, and then they had Infamous Second Son, which got pushed to March, which is a pretty good game. And they had other exclusives came out, and Xbox had about the same, maybe a little bit more. But what you talked about, Seth, earlier was that ramp up, basically the Don Matrick taste still in people's mouth when the Xbox One launched, and it kind of hampered them at the start. But now
Xbox
PlayStation, I'll say some of the things that PlayStation has done well that I want Microsoft to do well, and I think some of the stuff they are headed in that direction. Better first party support. Going back to Will, give me something other than Halo and Gears. I want something fresh. I wanted Scalebound, even if it was like a decent game. It didn't have to be like, Tim and Eric, oh my god, it's so amazing, orgasm, a great game. But give me something else other than I want my Xbox to be called something more than what some people call as the shooter box. Yeah, that's what you play to get your shooter games.
The vroom vroom shooter box.
And Sony has, yes, they do have a ton more first party studios at their helm, and I think that gives Sony an edge as far as take your time. We'll have you three guys can come up. Your game's almost done. You guys take your time. And that's giving those studios time. That gave Guerrilla Games 5 years to make Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
Number two is their second and third party support. And I think that the big one really probably is because it is from Japan. But a lot of those games I listed at the start of this topic, a good chunk of those games, Gravity Rush 2 is, like, I think a second-party game. Neo's a second-party game. Bloodborne's a second-party game. Star Ocean is a Square Enix game. The list goes on, and they're getting this extra support. These aren't exclusives from Sony's first-party studio. They're exclusives from other companies.
Yeah.
And that's, again, driving more force to get the people to purchase a PlayStation 4, which is their ultimate goal. Like, it's only on PlayStation 4, so the consumer's like, got to get a PlayStation 4 to play it. And the big one, especially just on the exclusive front, is indie. Indie support. It has been super weak on the Xbox One side, in my opinion, for their indie support. And I say that in the sense of, like, if we remember those times, every time we looked at an article, it always felt like Sony had something coming out for PlayStation 4. Like some game, even if it was some hot trash garbage that you just like, don't even care. But it felt like every week, boom, you got this full list of new games you never even heard of. And a lot of that, and I think what kind of helped them in the first year or two for the PlayStation 4 was their indie support. In the indie games that came through, as opposed to, at least Microsoft has some of those indie games too, but some of their big marquee ones, Cuphead, pushed back, don't know when that's coming out.
Right.
Below, pushed back, don't know when that's coming out.
Right.
We Happy Few in early access, but that's also on the PC as well.
Right.
And so I could get that on, I have a powerful PC, so I can get that. I have the option of getting that on my PC as well. And so, jumping back, Chaz, and I have a lot of other points. I don't want to take up all the time. The exclusive one's another big thing there, but jumping back on the point of Xbox is going to become this PC thing, my concern is the Xbox as a console. There are some people that do not have powerful gaming PCs, and they can't afford $500, $600, even regardless of what the Scorpio prices cost, of affording that. Xbox is that game, hey, I love Halo. I don't have to have a PC, even though it's not really on PC to get it. But I can get the Xbox One, especially the Xbox One S with 4K Blu-ray and streaming, and jump into this world for $249 and get a game with it too. The thing is, I want to see, like, if Xbox console sales, and that I think that's why Sony is focusing and doubling down on why they want to keep PS4, PS5, PS6, because Sony has had success with that. PS1, PS2, over 100 million consoles sold. PS4 is trending to there, but not quite there yet. And PS3 was around 80-something million. And of course that's what Sony wants, because that's what's making the money. But if Microsoft trends over to, hey, we're just going to make this gaming PC and this gaming tower, then number one, what's stopping people from just, like, why don't I just go build my own tower, especially at that time when they can get powerful stuff on the cheap? What's the point of me going to buy this when I can maybe get help, or even buy a stock computer and pop a graphics card in there and get the same experience? Plus, I get to actually use it as a computer. And also, I fear that it kills, like, what happens to Xbox as the console? Like, it goes away?
Again, that my theory is Xbox will be a line of gaming PCs.
And it, like, I feel that's dangerous because of they're going to have to compete and get into bed, because if Xbox is a gaming PC, then I'm looking at Seth, he's my Xbox guy, then they would have to trend in again back to the Windows Store, and they would have to focus and double down on the Windows Store. And again, that is a very strong uphill battle. Now, that's not to say they couldn't conquer that, but I think if Steam sees some pushback, of course, Steam stays the way they are, but once they get a little stimulus, somebody pokes them a little bit, that's when Gabe turns his chair around and says, activate the contingency plan, and they start changing and adding these new features.
As he's munching on copies of Half-Life 3.
Which I think would be great. That was good. Which I think would be great for Steam in Sony, but it would be great for Steam, but I think that this may sound weird, but I think Microsoft and Xbox leaving the console market would suck for Sony and suck for gamers for Sony.
Here's a different thing. Like, looking at it from both parties, the reason why I'm not too worried about Microsoft and Xbox right now is because PlayStation is one bad console move away from tanking Sony entirely. Because as we've all known, the only thing holding Sony afloat right now is the PlayStation brand. Right?
That is true as a company.
That's true as a company.
I think that,
but
I respectfully
Microsoft,
disagree on the point that one bad move will sink it, but go ahead.
True. But Microsoft, though, they have their entirety of Windows 10, the VR and AR things that they're pushing with HoloLens and all of that, their development tools, their push into the business space, their Surface program. Xbox merging into everything else like that does not hurt Microsoft one bit.
Yeah, but
Actually, it will.
Well,
and here's how. All it takes is one bad operating system like Vista to then tank the Xbox.
Again, we have shifted to black and white.
Yeah.
We cannot do that. Like, none of these companies... Sony will never disappear. Sony will never disappear.
What may end up happening is the rest of the company may die off, but PlayStation will still be around.
They have already just butchered tons of their departments that lose money.
Right.
And so, like, Sony... I think that 2 years ago, what you were saying was yes. Like, if the PlayStation 4 had come out, Sony would have had a real issue if it didn't sell well.
Right.
Now I think that they have trimmed up because, like, let's be real. Sony rocks three things. That is game consoles, televisions, and cameras. And like, that is...
And they have a Hollywood studio.
Yeah, and they do their Hollywood studio. So, like, there's some stuff there. One thing I want to highlight right quick. I like to do, like, pulse checks. Like, I like to find real front-facing customer things and just compare them. And I went to PlayStation.com. I went to Xbox.com. And I'm going to talk about the games that I see on them, right? So, Xbox.com features 5 game like spots where they're like, this is a game that's coming out or is available now. Let me run through those games. Skate 3 on back compat. This is the first game that you see when you go to Xbox.com.
Ooh, yeah.
DLC for Resident Evil 7 banned footage, multi-platform,
which they kind of got
coming soon. Mass Effect Andromeda. That's a video game. Now, of course, the banner at the top is Halo Wars 2. So, like, there's your exclusive. So that's the first thing you see, technically. But once you get past there, bestseller, Forza Horizon 3. Down at the bottom, Grand Theft Auto 4 is now on back compat. 2 of their 5 games that are featured on the front page are back compatible games. Which back compat is awesome. Switch over to Sony. Of course, you have your new bundles available. Uncharted, whatever, that's in the banner. Watch Dogs 2 DLC. Horizon Zero Dawn. Nier Automaton. Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands, which isn't an exclusive, but for some reason Xbox doesn't have it on the thing, even though they have the thing.
Well, Xbox has Andromeda, and that's not.
They have Andromeda, yeah.
Yes,
Mass Effect Andromeda is next up here. MLB The Show 17, Persona 5, Gran Turismo Sport, and Injustice 2. Below that, stuff about the beta. Below that, the beta for Ghost Recon. Below that, Psychonauts Rhombus of Ruin. Below that, Night in the Woods.
That's not exclusive. Is
not
it?
Exclusive, but
so they made a marketing deal with Sony.
Xbox. So Xbox has no indie games on the front. None.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Night in the Woods is a huge fucking indie game. Like, that was a very highly anticipated indie release. And so that, to me, like, that again, that's just like a symptom of something bigger where, like, it all boils down to first party exclusives not being, not a lot of originals, right? Like, just not a lot of original first party stuff.
Give us a breath of fresh air. Give us something different.
What's the horizon? And I think Sony suffered from a lot of this in the PS3 era. Like, I remember, like, think of big franchises that define the PS3. God of War was a big one. Like, I remember God of War finished up in that, and that was like a big finale.
Uncharted
was like
The Last of Us. I guess you could say that. That was the tail end of the PS3 generation.
And so we could say Uncharted equals Halo, right? Like, that was a big release for the Xbox.
That's what they described in the video.
Resistance Fall of Man.
Resistance Fall of Man is your Gears, right? That's your aliens killing Marines, you know, like, and I know these aren't like apples to apples, but like, Xbox I don't think Xbox is having a great generation. And I'm saying that as an Xbox fan. And like, I thought that there was a lot of hope for them, but now I'm like, are we going to get to the end of this? And is this going to be like, there's just nothing?
The curse of the third console. The N64 had it. No, I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's the curse of the third console. And I
PS3
I take things like, I don't think the Xbox isn't having a bad,
I mean,
generation.
Let's be real. They're outselling the 360 at this time.
Yeah, they're just not having a great because if you look at Xbox One by itself, it's doing great. If you look at it with its competition, it's getting destroyed. And I think that's where the optics come in. And like just reversing back, and I'm going to be done with this as far as this talking. I really don't want Xboxes to go away. I want Xbox to succeed as a Sony fan because it helps keep Sony's ass in check. like as a Sony fan, because that I remember the PS3 era, 360 era, when Kaz Hirai and everybody's like, $5.99, you'll have to get 2 jobs to do this, to get this console.
And it's bad. It was bad.
And Xbox and Microsoft said Xbox 360, it's only $3.99 or $2.99, and of course Xbox sold meteorically compared to PlayStation 3 during most of that generation. And that's that's the point of competition, is to keep everyone honest. We feel like Microsoft is in this pinch because you have that competition doing so much better. If Sony and PlayStation 4 wasn't there, we'd all be having the conversation of, man, Microsoft's doing really great. They're trending better than the Xbox 360. Everything's great.
Yeah.
We're getting great games and stuff like that. But because of the execution of their competition, it's putting Microsoft in the corner, and nobody puts Microsoft in the corner. I'm just going to say that.
How long did you scheme that?
That just came up. That's surprisingly. That just popped in my head. And I want Xbox to succeed so that Sony can, so I can get more stuff from Sony, and Sony to succeed so I can get more stuff from Microsoft, because at the end of the day, them fighting back and forth is what is going to be best for everyone, period.
That's where Horizon comes from. Horizon came from competition and needing that first party support.
And that's, if that is like The Witcher 3, but it's a Sony exclusive, that is a huge checkbox for Sony, and that puts Microsoft, it really gives a big ball to Microsoft to say, do what you do, see what you
A lot of people say this, but if it boils down to shooters live on Xbox, quote unquote, RPGs live on PlayStation, that's not great. Like that's not a divide I want. Like I want cross-pollination. I want to see, I don't want where gaming fails, where consoles fail for me is fucking backwards dragons. Fucking a console that does not a great job sales-wise, that is technically hard to develop for, is more proprietary, right? Like less open. And I don't think that's an issue here, but like this is all part of the nightmare scenario where a game comes out and if you only owned a PS3, you played the absolute fucking worst version of Skyrim. You didn't get any DLC for one of the most important games of the generation. That is where it fails for me, is when like people miss out on great experiences because of the hardware they chose. That is where like consoles fail for me. And if it comes down to, I used to think the answer to everything was, well, just buy everything on PC. Then Batman fucking Arkham Knight comes around and says, not actually. Like, it's, to me, I feel like I'm playing Russian roulette on what copy I buy now, on what platform I buy it for. And that is super stressful for me. And in the case of like things like Horizon, there's no option. There's one option.
I've watched a video where like exclusives make a strong case for developers, because if you make an exclusive, guess what? You only have to worry about one box.
Right.
Yep. And so that's like, that's it. The thing with me is like Microsoft, I want them to be very smart, because merging into the PC right away isn't going to be great in the short term. It could work for them on a long game, but Steam is king right now. And unless you have a very, like, Xbox Play Anywhere is almost convincing enough, but I need those games to be stellar performing on the PC. And if you need to let developers code in X32 or X63 or whatever the hell, I don't know much about that, but like if that's what they need versus your Windows Universal Platform, like,
and it's hard. It's hard because if you want to make them exclusive to the Windows Store, but you also run that gambit of people say, well, it's not on Steam, don't care.
Because guess what happens if Microsoft succeeds in the Windows Store? Let's say, I think, what is the normal cut 70-30? I think 30% goes to Valve.
Usually. Right about.
What if Microsoft comes in and says, hey, you know what, developers, it's now 60-40. Developers are like, whoa, we get a bigger cut now. sorry, not sorry,
80-20.
80-20.
Whoa,
My
it's okay.
bad. My bad.
Mhm.
80-20. We take less of a cut. Whoa. Okay, now I've got to think about where I'm going. We give you all these tools. Here's our numbers, right? This is our number of active users, and I think their numbers are artificially padded because it's built into every fucking PC, you know. But like again, like the numbers are impressive on paper, and that happens. Then Steam says, "Okay, well we'll match them 80-20. We can throw money at this. We've got money to throw at it." Next thing you know, you have this internal developer price war going on. Because listen. Price wars are when we win. You want to talk? I can go out right now. I can buy a fucking PlayStation 4 with Uncharted or Call of Duty for $250. We win because of price wars, right?
Yep.
And imagine what happens when someone starts making these deals and cutting all this stuff, and the corporations take the hit because they want people on their platform. That's where we win. And I just don't want Xbox to lose that. I want them to be relevant. I don't want them to be the BlackBerry of consoles, where they used to be the king and now they're.
I think Xbox has really embedded themselves in the console marketplace, especially when you go up against.
The DLC eventually came out. Yes,
Yeah.
he's showing me the DLC eventually came out, but it was years after.
Especially when you compare
For
it
Skyrim.
against, like Sony's long, like more or less, Sony has been the king of its console generation since the PlayStation 1, and that's not like the exception is the PlayStation 3.
$299.
The exception is the PlayStation 3, at least until the very, very,
'Cause-
very tail end.
Because at
when
the end, they did outsell.
They kind of
Yeah.
outsell, but even then, as far as optics are concerned, Xbox 360 won that generation, like hands down. But you look at PS1, PS2, at least for right now, PS4, like Sony has had a very strong, rich history. Nintendo has a strong, rich history, and I believe that Microsoft and Xbox, throughout what anybody said when the Xbox first was announced and it came out, what? Microsoft getting in the consoles? No, that's not going to work. They are a mainstay. We put them on the level with the PlayStation 4 and the Nintendo Switch.
I hope they continue to innovate.
Yeah, I want them to innovate. I want to see more from them than just Halos and Gears.
Like their platform innovation is top. Now, like you think about all they've added: back compat, LFG. I know communities were on
game, regardless of what people say about the Don Matrick era and all that crap that the Xbox One had. Game sharing was a great idea. It's a super cool idea, and the family sharing thing.
Oh,
but
people love it now.
It got buried under
All the
always
other
online
problems.
and 24-hour check-in and.
But see, the thing is, they were running against the same kind of argument that they ran against when they released the original Xbox. What, you're going to put an Ethernet card in every box? You crazy? People don't have Ethernet. They only have DSL. What's wrong? But people looked at an Xbox and said, "What? You're telling me I can play Halo with my friends across the country? Yeah, sure. I'm going to upgrade my Ethernet plan. Yeah, I'll fuck DSL.
It's a different world from 2002.
It's a different world now.
Different,
You know, people are now going like, "Wait, what do you mean I can't take this on the road with me? What do you mean if I'm not hooked into my, Wi-Fi portal, I don't have access to my games? What is this?"
Yeah.
I don't.
We're beating a dead horse on
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
that was
just
bad. I just hope that there's good exclusive, or not exclusives. There are good games on the Xbox, and Xbox gamers are not missing out on what should be games they have access to. Like, again, first party games will always be exclusive, but like, if a game comes out, fucking broke, never gets fixed because the platform isn't strong enough, or the development on the platform is too difficult, that's not great. I hope that doesn't happen. Also hope the fucking Scorpio has laser beams and treads on it and it will roll over the PlayStation for all time.
Man, I can't wait till E3 this year. I can't.
Did someone say 4K? In the front of a giant more like 4K.
Instead of the car that comes down, it's the Scorpio that comes down.
It's like it lights up, and it's just like what I would love is just like it lights up with that little like white Xbox logo, and then just like turns red.
No,
it's like, hello, Dave.
I got it.
You don't want red lights on your Xbox.
Yeah.
They have a bad history with that.
Yep. Remember that. Remember the HD DVD player. Remember the shit happens. All right, shit happens. We'll be fine.
I want to think of it as in terms of like the opening of Fez, when the Fez comes down and then it goes on Gomez's head, and all of a sudden you see the lights just go.
See, if the Xbox was Fez, then Phil Spencer would get He'd have a Twitter rant about how much he hates game developers and media, and then he would go dark for 6 months,
and then create Super
And then-
Hypercube.
and then he would announce a new game at E3, and then he would cancel it.
Well, I mean, the good thing is I think we'll see something if Microsoft pushing back their conference.
Yeah,
which we
that was
didn't really talk about.
We didn't talk about that, but like that's a
That's a big deal.
It's
and
a
I
bold
think
move.
it's a bold move. Yes,
That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it works out for them. I think that doing that, if they're doing that, I think we're in for a really big treat come E3 this year from Microsoft.
agreed. Thank you for hanging around with us. This has been episode 55 of the Rocket Punch Cast. As always,
Plugs.
you can.
Whoa.
No.
Dude,
I got you, boo.
all right.
I got you, boo. See, you're thinking like, oh man, here comes all the plugs. Rocket Punch / Rocket Punch Go. Oh, except Facebook, it's / Rocket Punch Network because URLs are stupid. Let me tell you, I'm gonna make it real simple for you. RocketPunchGo.com. It's a website. Boom, you get to this website. Big, beautiful splash image. It's whatever we want you to read right now because statistics prove you're probably not going to scroll past it. But if you are part of the minority that scrolls past it, then you're going to get hit with boom, Rocket Punch Cast, boom, Tank and Spank. Then you're going to get hit with boom, Creator Spotlight. 3 of our, I don't know, flagship products. Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Flagship.
Flagship. That sounds good on the tongue there.
I'm okay with it.
I like things that.
But don't
Good.
start. No, stop. I opened the door.
And there's the E next.
I opened the door and you're trying to walk through it like, no, don't come to this.
Then below that, you got our videos. Basically that homepage has everything. It's all there. It's there laid out for you. If you want to do all the social stuff, boom, they're right there underneath the fold, as we call it.
Be on the lookout this week. Rocket Punch Live is coming back in full force. We've made format changes to it. Instead of 1 hour streams every week, it's going to be when big important games happen, big chunky meaty games. By the time you listen to this, we will have a Horizon Zero Dawn live event.
Yep.
We are also going to have a Switch unboxing Zelda on this upcoming Friday if you're listening to this as it goes live. So tune in to Twitch and possibly YouTube to be able to watch all that awesome content.
Remember when we said there's a large banner at the top that has whatever we want you to pay attention to that you probably won't scroll past? Those will be in that banner on those times. So just go to Rocket Punch Go. You will have a link straight to those. But if not, you'll of course find us on twitch.tv/Rocket Punch Live or youtube.com/Rocket Punch Go. Go ahead and subscribe or follow us there. That way you know as soon as we go live. But this is it for episode 55. 55.
Yes. 55.
You must pay 55. Now, see, if 55 has 2 5s in it, but you only need 1 5 to get some awesome Rocket Punch merch and help support the show over at patreon.com/Rocket Punch. So Patreon is essentially a monthly subscription to Rocket Punch, essentially, and you're supporting the show. It's not like you have to pay that to get all of our content. Most of our content is free on rocketpunchgo.com. However, we have exclusive shows. Bonus episode of Rocket Punch Cast. Bonus episode of Tank and Spank. Bonus Rocket Punch Play series. And other fun shenanigans thrown throughout. You can get those for as little as $3 a month. Helps support us. Helps us grow. $5 a month gets you swag. $10 a month and up starts getting you shout-outs on this program.
Well, $5 also gets you. We started our Creator Spotlight exclusive stuff. Probably by the time you hear this, we will have our exclusive, another exclusive Creator Spotlight episode for our people on the $5 tier and up, for the Rocket Punch Quidditch Club, which will be live as well by the time you hear this. So definitely go check that out for everyone on the $5 tier.
So each of our flagships will have a Patreon exclusive episode.
Man, you say that word again. Oh man,
Listen. I have a minor in marketing. I know what words to say to make you get your wallet out, but not actually. We want you to support us because we love making this content, and we do not make money on Rocket Punch, that is for sure. But you can help offset that cost and support us and get cool swag and get bonus episodes. It's so cool. Just go to patreon.com/Rocket Punch and help support us now. That is it for episode 55. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Bye.